dropped on their heads as children. Here's what's coming up on the Nice Guys on Business.
Well, I got a feeling if I get into this one, there's one that I like, but I think it's going to go long. Never joke with the TSA. Like, why would you? Like, I thought that was kind of understood. Like, everybody should know that. Did you really fucking make a bomb joke around the TSA?
No, they're not superheroes, but that's just because they couldn't decide on what color to make the costumes. Although they do wear capes. Everywhere. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, welcome back, Funkin' fans. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone, bad motherfucker, Doug Sandler.
Hey, now that I'm sporting my new wallet, you go back and listen to Tuesday's show, you'll see why I'm sporting my new wallet. But
now, did you actually have that one made, or did they have it? They had it already.
They had it. I walked up and I'm just like, this is exactly what we need. I mean, the only other wallet that would do just as nicely as Bad Motherfucker would be one that says, welcome back, welcome back. I mean, what lines do we say as many? There's not many lines that we say over and over again. I mean, not that we say bad motherfucker so many times, but we have made reference to it many times on the show.
Well, and apparently that's how I'm in Sean Carpenter's phone also.
Oh, like that's right.
I'm pretty sure. Hey, Sean, you got to take a screenshot of that and send it to us. Because I think it says Strickland Bonner, bad motherfucker, or something like that. You got to, yeah. Here, I'm going to text him right now and get that so we don't forget.
And that's fine. You do that. And while you're doing that, let me just make a reminder. Hey, for those of you that are fans of ours on Twitter, also and follow us on Twitter, just in addition to tagging me on the message at DJ Doug is my Twitter handle, could you do me a favor? Could you just also hashtag that bad motherfucker?
Oh God.
Oh gosh. So this is Thursday's show, Strickland. Just 2 more days, and I am off the grid again.
God, could you go on a few more vacations, please?
Summertime is vacation time, man. You know, you gotta do it while you can. The problem is, Strick, this time I'm going on a cruise, and so I will be not just on vacation, but I will be off the grid.
All right, so Funkin' fans, just to clarify, just because Doug is going on vacation, the show is not going on vacation. We never, ever, ever take a fucking break. We're actually going to be next week on Friday and Saturday. We're going to be recording for 2 straight days so we can get 2 weeks of episodes in.
And just so everybody knows, this is not going to be any of that bullshit like rapid rewind or whatever it is. No. This is us. I mean, okay, because that's what we do. We go, well, Strick. No, that's what I do because Strick never gets to go on vacation. He is not allowed any time off. Strick, I keep thinking about.
Did I tell you I'm spending a couple days in Vegas before Podcast Movement?
I'm happy with that because, you know, that kind of gets your relaxation wheels going. And I like the fact that you never take vacation. Man, I don't understand how you can even do that. I mean, you don't disconnect ever. I appreciate that so much in you.
Okay. It's all good.
I mean, for the next 5 or 10 years, that would be fun. Yeah, if you could just continue that pace, I don't know how you do it personally. I really don't.
I do it for the fans. I do it for our Funkin' fan listeners who can show their appreciation by going to patreon.com/nice guys.
Nice. Okay. And you can also just go over to where are we? Overcast? Yeah, that's the one.
And
Overcast.
Recommend us on Overcast.
Just recommend us on Overcast. Just hit the little star button. I promise you, it's painless, and it will just take just a few seconds to do that. So just hit the little recommend button. Sean, don't hit that advance key. Okay. So did he text you back?
I'm texting him right now.
Oh, okay. It takes you a long time to text. Average
I'm trying to talk and text at the same time.
Seconds.
So I'm trying to keep the show interesting. I don't want to just drop out and disappear. So I'm trying to pay attention to you at the same time, you know.
Strick, we had a record. We spun the wheel, I think, 3 or 4 times on Tuesday.
We've done it that many times before, just not recently.
Yeah, we really have been. We're letting our fans down.
So we're letting them down? You think they're disappointed because we don't spin the wheel as much?
No, probably not.
You know, we could reach out and say, hey, guys, if you want us to spin the wheel more and get to specific topics more, just reach out and tell us. That's all you got to do. If you want any changes to this show, just reach out and tell us. We're not guaranteeing we're going to do it, but we guarantee we'll listen.
I was waiting for that.
We're guaranteeing we will actually listen, and we may actually mention you on the show. So if you don't want us to mention you on the show,
we did a whole bunch of fun stuff on Tuesday. We did the Patreon shout-outs for everybody that's been a new Patreon member. We did the birthday shout-outs, of which we had none. That was good. we did. Strickland did a speed read of the topics. That's all on Tuesday's show. A couple of great episodes of interviews before that as well. And today we are back. We are going to do more fun more fun topics. So Strick, why don't we just get right into it? You want to? Let's do that.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yes.
And I've been thinking about a themed week, like Manly Week, Tech Week, or Shark Week.
Yeah, I can't remember why this came up on my agenda. I think I might know. So the idea came to me when I was looking at all of these. I was looking at like technology. Like I'm thinking, oh man, well, how cool would it be? We could have like people come on the show and do like specific things that are related to technology, and then you and I could talk about like technology throughout the course of the week, and then I went into the art of shaving, which is one of those stores that they have at the mall.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about, then we could do like a manly week, and we could have I'm trying to say it with a straight face. It's like, how do you think that our Funkin' fans would be interested in themed weeks, or do you think that we should just keep it as loose as we keep it? We're always trying to come up with new format ideas. Maybe I should just let that go.
Okay, you know what I think? Themed weeks sound like more work. Okay, which I don't like at all. Anything that's more work for us, I don't like at all.
All right.
But you know what? You know what I really love the idea of? I love the idea of putting it on the fans, because you asked the real question.
God,
do you think
really
our
hard.
listeners want it? Well, you know
Strick.
what? If they want it, they should reach out to us and tell us.
I know, but we say that all the time. But we know what happens. It's like you don't get a lot of feedback. And I'm not saying we don't get a lot of feedback because we don't have a lot of listeners. We do have a lot of listeners, but the problem is getting anybody to take action to do anything, it's really challenging. Just think about yourself.
Have you never noticed how I frame that when I say have the listeners speak up? If anybody who hasn't figured it out yet, I frame it in such a way that it always requires them to reach out if they want me to do more work.
No, I get it. I understand that, and I'm with you. It's like, let's not do more work unless somebody is saying tell us to do more work.
Right.
But aren't there sometimes some great ideas that we just kind of think, okay, well, don't we know best? I mean, aren't we the ones we've been the ones that have built the audience, and we've been the ones that have determined what the topics that we're going to talk about. Nobody's telling us what to talk about. Nobody, for the most part, a very, very, very small percentage of people that listen actually take action. Not because they're not listening and enjoying and being entertained by the show, but if you're listening to this right now and you've been listening for the last 50 episodes, 100 episodes, even if you've only been listening for a handful of episodes and you've done nothing and you feel like, and you're not even thinking that we're talking to you. It's like, because I'm that listener. I'm that guy. I'm the one that always listens to shows. And I'm like, they're not talking to me. I mean, I'm just listening. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking talking to you. You're listening, but you're not taking action. It's okay, but nothing will change unless it's amazing the power of one. If one person reaches out and says, maybe we should do this differently, don't we consider that?
Oh, sure. We always listen and we always consider it. We don't necessarily do it, but we do consider it. But the other insight that I would give you into at least my thought process along these lines, whether it's conscious or unconscious, is that when we come up with a great idea that I think is a great idea or you think is a great idea, we just fucking do it, right? We don't ask, right? But when we come up with an idea that seems like more work, that we're not sure if it's a good idea or not, then we throw it out to them. Or, again, just to get even like really totally transparent, if it's an idea that you throw out and you love and I fucking hate, then instead of like telling you how much I hate it, I'll just say, let's let the fans decide, which of course, what do? They do nothing. So we don't do it.
I'm sensing this is so here's what I'm hearing. So you know, here's what I'm hearing. Any idea that I bring to you, even if you don't, especially if you don't like it, you're going to ask the fans. You're going to ask our listeners. Yes, that's it exactly. You're going to ask our listeners to make us do it. What you're saying is make me step across this line.
That's it exactly. I'm so glad you have a perfect comprehension of exactly. Yeah.
All right. So
and in this particular case, I don't hate the idea, but it does sound like planning and work. Like we'd have to think about the specific guests we want and when we would post it. And then, so, I mean, I don't hate the idea, but if nobody cares about it, it would be a lot of work for us that nobody would care about. So this
honestly, I don't even know that I'm sold on the idea either.
And that's why I'm asking the fans. If even one or two people out there thought, hey, this might be kind of cool, I'd be totally open to try it. But
I think the original idea, if the original seed was planted in my mind from Jeff Gibbard, because he's got this podcast called Shareable, and they do a season of podcasts, and oftentimes I hear this, we're doing a season of podcasts. I have another guy that just recently reached out to me that has a podcast of his own also, and they do a season, like 8, 10, 12 episodes of a specific theme, and then they drop the theme. So I keep thinking, well, when that happens, though, you lose your entire audience. Like they stop their podcast. They then come back on and they redo it. They do another season. And if you don't like what they're about to talk about for the next 10 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is, then you're not going to listen to their show, and they've lost an entire opportunity. But
that's a very interesting perspective, because you're right. When we were doing the Podcasters Forum with Jeff, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, wow, you theme stuff, which again seems like work, and you got to plan the guests around it. But I had not thought about it from the perspective of, hey, I loved last season's topic, but this one's fucking stupid, and so you lose them, and you got to rebuild your whole audience. Very interesting. Very true.
Yeah. So, but then that leads me to believe, well, if you really want to segment your audience and you're not looking for growth. See, I think that the way that we're positioning ourselves, we really do position ourselves for growth and growth only. I mean, we don't really look to, like the people that have been tuned in from week one. I mean, God bless you. Thank you for sitting through all the bullshit for the last 2.5 years. But they're listening to a whole different show, and not because we've changed seasons, but just because the show has evolved. But those that are, okay, well, we're going to do a car week, and we're going to spend our car season. We're going to spend if you have no interest in cars, you're going to tune out the entire season, unless you just like us so much that you want to hear us, and I can't imagine that. Can't imagine that.
So do you ever watch who is it that does Shark Week? Discovery Channel, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that? I think they just did it a week or a couple of weeks ago, right? There was a great ad, and I know you don't watch TV that much, so you probably didn't see it, right? You know Seal, the artist Seal?
Yeah.
Kiss from a Rose, right? So there's a on the commercial, you see him, he's on a dock, and he's singing to an audience, and there's a whole bunch of people cheering, and he's singing Kiss from a Rose, and he's like really into it, and everybody's yelling and screaming, and then all of a sudden you see this huge shark jump out of the water and swallow him whole, right?
Okay, right.
And you're just sitting there like looking at it's like silent, everybody's silent, and you're looking at this water churning up, and the overlay comes over and it says, "It's still a bad week to be a seal." Oh my God, it was so perfect.
No, I didn't see it.
It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Was that like their intro to Shark Week?
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the ads where they were pushing Shark Week. I'm sure if you go to YouTube and do like a seal.
Let's use that as the case, though. So that's the Discovery Channel. That is not the Shark Channel.
Right.
So people tune into Discovery because they are looking for, isn't that the channel that like How It's Made is on and a whole bunch, and like other things that are completely unrelated to that. So is the same guy that's interested in How It's Made going to be listening to or tuning in to Shark Week?
Well, you know what is really interesting? This is like business advice now, and it's really an interesting tack you're taking, because I like it. Because you're right, Discovery Channel, they have some animal shows, I think, right? But Discovery, I think they focus a lot on the How It's Made and the tech kind of stuff, but they started Shark Week, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, right? And they started it kind of on a whim. They're like, yeah, this might be kind of fun. And they had a couple of different shows that were shark centric, but it caught on so much. People loved it so much. And that's why it has gotten huge now. maybe we do need to think of the same thing, right? Like we could come up with, okay, this is going to be X, manly week, right? Just for kicks, just for fun, we'll do manly week. And we're going to say we're going to do it every year. Well, if people like it, we'll do it again next year. And if people don't give a shit, then we won't.
I'm sorry. I tuned into Discovery Channel, and they have. You hate this kind of website, but as soon as you go to the Discovery Channel, bum 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 bum.
Oh, music immediately.
Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of music. I'm like, I can't turn this off, so I had to shut down the channel. But it looked like they have. Who are the two guys? Mythbusters. Isn't that on Discovery?
Yeah, I love Mythbusters.
So Mythbusters is there, and Shark Week was there, and How It's Made is on there, and there's a whole bunch of different. But they're all totally unrelated. So either your mindset is into watching channels that have that kind of, I don't even know if they're themed, but it really is Discovery. I mean, that's why it's called the Discovery Channel. So are people tuning into the Nice Guys on Business, and regardless of what we have on, are they listening for us, or are they listening for the content that us brings to them?
I don't know. That's the problem, and I don't know.
Yeah,
and it's actually interesting. So it's a great way to loop it in. Have you ever actually seen the show How It's Made? There's a TV show How It's Made, not the NPR. Or whatever.
Yeah. I love that show.
Okay, now it's a 30-minute show, right?
Yep.
And they typically go through, I think, four things, four different items, and how they're made each show, right?
I'm pretty sure they like pop back and forth to each one of those, don't they? Or do they? I can't remember if they go through. Okay, anyway, all right.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different show, but I'm pretty sure
that's all right.
It is literally 5 or maybe 8-minute segments, because they do 4 of them in a 30-minute show. So it's probably 6-minute segments or something, right?
Okay, all right.
And I find it very interesting, very informative, but the format of it, right? The guy that does the voiceover, he's fucking boring. Okay.
Well, he's not an exciting guy, but I think that's fine.
They don't go into like a lot of detail. They don't make it funny. It's basically just, hey, here's the.
Oh, it's very like straightforward. There is no humor in it at all.
So I like that show. I watch it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, right? Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs is an hour long. And they usually do 2 different, maybe sometimes it's 3. It's either 2 or 3 different professions, right? And so Mike Rowe talks about one profession that we may not even give a shit about or even knew existed for 20 or 30 minutes, right? Because I watch that show because Mike Rowe, he's just funny as shit. He can make anything entertaining. So I absolutely don't watch How It's Made for the guy. And I'm not hooked on the show because I feel there's not much personality. I like it. I watch it sometimes. But man, Dirty Jobs, when I'm flipping through the channels and I see Dirty Jobs, I can't turn away because of Mike Rowe.
So that begs the question, are we more of a How It's Made kind of show that is informative? Or are we more of a Mike Rowe? And I'm asking this question not to fish for a compliment, but I'm trying to figure out, why do people exactly tune in? Do they tune in for our guests, or do they tune in because of us? And we happen to have guests also.
Well, when I look at the informative content of our Tuesday and Thursday shows, I hope it's because of us, because we have so little actual informative content on Tuesday and Thursday that if they're listening for that, they're going to be really disappointed.
Well, why unsubscribe just for 2 days a week? It's like, okay. But, so it automatically but it doesn't. Does it automatically download? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you subscribe, it's going to download every episode.
So curious. Do people not listen to the Tuesdays and Thursday show, or do they not listen to the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday show? Or do they just subscribe, realize what they've subscribed to, and forget to unsubscribe?
I would love to hear from any Funkin' fans to tell me if they only listen to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or they only listen to Tuesday and Thursday. It's an interesting. I would love to hear.
I can tell you that the ones that reach out to us the most are the ones that listen to the Tuesday, Thursday show with some sense of. I think you even told me this one time that who was it that listened to the first 15 minutes and couldn't give a shit who we actually interviewed on the show because they were too busy listening and laughing to the fuckery that was even on the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shows.
I remember hearing that. I don't remember who it was, though.
Yeah, so that's just it. I mean, the ones to us that are going to be the most vocal are the ones that are listening to the Tuesdays and Thursday shows, because they're the ones that relate to us as people and not necessarily care about the rest of the. Not that they don't care, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't even remember why we started that. I think it was our theme. Oh, we our theme. That's right. Theme weeks. Yeah.
That was it. If you want a theme week, reach out and let us know. So next topic is I've seen the light, and it's Apple Watches. Do you have an Apple Watch now?
No, I didn't buy an Apple Watch, but I'm telling you, I went into the Apple store when I was on vacation this past week in Charleston, and I fell in love with this Apple Watch. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I have to have one now. I didn't realize exactly how powerful this watch is and the stuff that it can actually do. And how it connects to your iPhone and how it makes life a little bit easier. And it wasn't really made apparent to me until I got a funny story about the guy in the Apple store. So the guy in the Apple store, before I tell you any more about the watch, so his name was Justin. Mm-hmm. So I go in and Justin is there, and he's like asking me questions about what I'm looking at and about the watch and if I've ever wanted one and the whole thing. And he wasn't trying to sell. And they never do. They just kind of inform. So I said to him, gosh, all this information. I said, do you ever are you a big fan of Apple products, or is this stuff that you learn just because of the job? He goes, no, I love Apple. He says, as a matter of fact, I love Apple so much that I wanted to get a job here at the Apple store, but nobody really that knows me outside the store even knows that I'm an Apple employee. We're not actually allowed to talk about the store. I mean,
what?
I think they sign. I'm very curious about how, now whether he was telling me that this is how Apple is in general or this is the vibe that I got. I get the feeling that you can't talk about your job outside of Apple. I think you must sign like some. I think you're signing like some. What's it? Non-disclosure?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
So he was telling me all about the watch, and I said, "Hey man, I would love to get somebody that has your knowledge on our podcast." And I started describing the podcast. He's like, "Yeah, I can't talk about Apple on the podcast."
That's so weird.
I'm thinking that when you're an Apple employee, you probably do sign some sort of non-disclosure about that. I don't know this for a fact. So this is not I'm not saying that he said anything to me, so I don't want to get him in trouble at all, but I can tell you that I got the vibe that you cannot share anything about Apple if you work at the store.
That's weird.
Yeah,
okay.
Very weird.
Anyway,
very
so
weird.
back to your Apple Watch.
Back to the watch for a second. So I'm looking at he's like showing me the watch, and you can actually talk into the watch and it will give your phone commands without having to touch anything. So if you wanted to send a text message, you could just say, "Hey Siri, send a text message to Strickland. Tell him I'm going to be late," which obviously we know will never be true. But I could say that into the watch, and then you would receive that text message. And the whole idea of text, of voice to text, to me is amazing. You know, there's so much stuff that's problematic, and I hate to say this, Strick, but I am a very safe driver, but I do every once in a while text and drive. I know I shouldn't, but I do. And it's like, oh man, I every time I do it, it's like that little thing that's in my head that's saying I should not be doing this. But anyway, so the Siri voice to text, that's like, "Hey Siri, send a text message to Strickland," or "Hey Siri." I don't know how exactly the voice commands work, but there are many voice commands that you can share with in the watch that would, I think, would be really cool and really advantageous and a big time saver, and all of the things that I'm totally into. So I don't know if the Apple Watch would be something I should get or not, but I'm putting it on the I think I want this on my wish list kind of idea for a little. I don't just jump into things. I kind of like to see how they play out. So I don't know. Have you ever thought about any of that type of? I know you wouldn't get an Apple Watch, but have you ever thought about one of those types of watches?
So for a while, I was wearing my Fitbit, which I really like, and I just kind of fallen out of it, but I really want to get it again. Yeah. And I really like the idea of having a smartwatch, right? But I've been waiting for one that with the Fitbit, it can track my sleep, and it can also track my steps, which I really like. And the smartwatches that I've found have not been able to do that yet. So I've kind of been waiting for them. I know sometime soon, and it may have happened already because I haven't looked at it lately, but the smartwatches, which will connect with your phone and connect with your computer and with Google and whatever,
right.
that they will also be able to do heart rate monitoring and sleep monitoring and steps. That's kind of what I've been waiting for, right?
Oh, well, it has to have already been out. They do all that stuff. They have the sensors on the bottom to do all that.
Right.
They don't? I can't imagine they wouldn't have that.
No, I think they do now. And of course, with the Apple Watch, I mean, what are they, fucking $500 or something, right?
Yeah, I think the base level is like $400, and then you can go as high as, I want to say, like $1,200 for the watch.
And that's the whole fucking thing. Like, I'm looking right now, like Gear S3, right? Like, I got my Samsung phone that I really like. So, hey, let's look at the Galaxy version. So it's a couple things. First of all, the Apple Watch, it's got a square face, which I prefer a round face watch. Okay, now that's just personal preference. But the other thing is, with the square face, it looks electronic, right? Like, I kind of like traditional watches with a regular watch face.
Yeah.
So now, like, I'm looking at the Gear S3, right? Now, the Samsung Gear ones, they make ones that the bezel and everything looks like a regular watch, and you can have a face. It's a digital face, but that looks like a regular. So I like that.
Watch, right,
I like that a lot, right? But I'm just checking to see if they have also the heart rate and the step monitor, which I'm looking at it now. It looks like they do, and I'm telling you, I can probably get it for $200, $250. I don't want to pay $500 for Apple shit just because the Apple name on it.
Yeah, I get you. But me, I'm an Apple guy, so the extra money I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but the extra money would not be the deterrent. Listen, I'm the guy that I have I don't know how much the watch is now, but I bought a Rolex watch in the mid 80s, and I've had it forever, and I wore it for a really long time, and I spent way more money than I should have, but I haven't worn that watch in probably 15 years.
Right.
I really do want to just get it fixed up and give it to my son for a graduation gift from college,
nice.
or a wedding gift, or some, I don't know, but I am gonna. When my dad passed away in the mid 90s. Really, one of the only things that I wanted from him was his Rolex watch, and unfortunately, it didn't. I don't know what happened to it, but it didn't go to me. I don't know what his wife had done with it who was not my mom, what she did with the watch. But I kept thinking as I got married, and I'm like, I'm gonna get my own watch. And so I've had this Rolex watch forever because I didn't get that other. And I'm thinking, I really want to get that watch. I really want to, but whatever. So anyway, so
See,
so
I'm looking at this right now. Like, you got me looking at it right now. The Samsung S3.
Yeah.
This is. I'm fucking getting one of these. I got to start shopping around. So first of all,
sold another watch.
It says sync with Android or iOS, which is really cool. So I could buy the Samsung phone and sync it with your iOS.
What's a Samsung watch?
I just did a Gear S3 is what this one is called.
I got it. Yeah, I see it. The smartwatch.
So there's a couple
$200.
things with it. Now, the other thing is I'm looking at the feature list, and there's iOS, standalone iOS, Bluetooth. Now, most of them, it'll sync most of the stuff. But there's a couple cool things that I like about it. First of all, it's got GPS. It's got a
Is this the
battery.
Gear S?
Gear S3, yes.
Okay, but that's not round.
Okay, look up Gear S3 then, because I guess this is maybe the newest one.
All right, so let's look that up. Gear S3. Okay.
And maybe this is just...
Oh, it is round.
Maybe this is just me being old school, right? But one of the things I really like about it is it says display size 1.3 inches, full color, always on. In other words, I like the fact that it looks like a regular watch. When I'm not looking at it, right? It's not just this blank screen, which is like
what
weird.
What makes this a smartwatch? It just looks like a...
Right.
This looks like a regular watch. Why is this good?
Exactly. That's what's so cool about it. That's what I like about it.
Boy, you can send text messages and stuff with this?
Hello. That's what it says. Yeah.
I don't...
Steel bezel, rotating app navigation. That's cool too. Like I can physically grab the bezel and turn it to change the app I want to use. But when I turn it and look at it, right, like an Apple Watch or something, I need to like tap it or something to make it come on. And it's like, I don't want that. I just want to look at it. I want it to be there all the time. I love that.
Oh, I'm looking at like this little video that they have. You make calls from your watch. You can send text messages. This looks pretty cool.
Right.
No, I'm getting the Apple Watch.
No, of course you're going to get the Apple Watch, but I'm just telling you, I think this is the one I need.
It does look very cool. Oh, I see. The whole face changes.
Right. Like
compatible with iOS and Samsung. Yeah, very cool.
Right. So when you're looking at that very first image where you see two different ones,
right,
it's the same watch, right? Like you can have either of those faces on because it's just a digital display. So if you want one that looks like cool and techy, you use that watch face. If you want one that looks more elegant, you just change the watch face digitally. You tell it you want a different face. I think that's really cool.
Huh. Very interesting.
I think
okay. This was not a product endorsement. Eat, sleep, stay Dubai. So just so you're aware.
Yeah.
When's that guy ever going to come on the show?
I know. He's never reached back out to us again. How weird is that?
No, that's pretty weird.
It's so weird.
Everybody that's heard of the Nice Guys wants to be on our show.
I know, right? So, let's get to another topic because we're good. We got some really good topics.
Last topic. Do we have, how much time do we have left?
We're about 30 minutes in.
Okay.
So we still got time. We can run long. It's okay if we run long, right?
It's okay with me.
How much of the cost of a product is material and labor? And you know what? I think this was your topic. It kind of ties in with my topic called make as little profit as possible. That is actually a viable business strategy.
It's a horrible business strategy.
Well, it's very interesting. I'm curious. Let's talk about yours first. How much of a cost of the product is material and labor? Which to me is fascinating. Okay, so
have you ever looked at the cost of things? Like, how much money does it actually cost to make a car?
Well,
like,
and a car is tough because I think a car is not a great example only because so much time and money needs to go into research for safety and testing and design. A car is a great example, but it's a complex example, right? I think there are many simpler examples that show how ridiculous the cost of products are versus what the manufacturer is, right? So a typical retail markup is like 100%, right?
Yeah.
Yep, I have a guitar stand that I bought years ago called a Hercules stand, and it's a triple stand, and it's really heavy duty.
Yeah, I have one.
I paid like $80 for it. Okay, it's a really nice stand. There's three of, but mine's a triple, right? So it was bought at a kind of a local mom and pop-ish music store. They had to order it from a distributor, like M&M music distributor or something, right?
Okay. Yep.
And so I started thinking about it, and I look on the thing, and it says manufactured in China for Hercules by so and so, right? Okay. So let's step this back. Let's reverse engineer this, right? I paid $80 for this, right? So if I paid $80 for it, he got it from a distributor, right? Well, the distributor probably marked it up 100%. So the distributor charged him $40 and sent it to him and charged me $80, right? The distributor had to get it from Hercules. Now, Hercules does not want to deal with the mom and pop because it's just too little time, right? Like they'll deal with Guitar Center who's going to buy 10,000, but they're not going to deal with the mom and pop, right?
Okay.
So the Hercules probably sold it to the middleman for $20, right?
Okay. I don't know this to be a fact, but so...
Again, this is all hypothetical, and you're right. I may be exaggerating in this particular case.
Maybe that step along the way, because I think that the retailer does, if they're paying $50, they're going to mark it up to $100. But does the retailer from does the distributor from the manufacturer or another middleman have also 100% markup? Or is it
you may be right. Maybe the markup
40%?
Isn't that much there, and maybe that's wrong. So if anybody can call and correct me, I would love to know the answer to that one. But so let's say hypothetically, if he's selling it for $40, let's say that Hercules sells it to him Hercules charges $30. Right, so maybe it's not a 50% markup. Or
I can tell you that when we used to be in the party goods supply business, remember when we were selling the blinky lights and all those little LED things? Yep. We used to get those between I want to say between 8 and 11 cents a piece.
Yeah.
And the retail of those, I had seen them as high as $2.50 a piece in the store. I mean, we used to sell them, I think, for 75 cents or $1 a piece. It was $50 for a bag of 50 of them.
But that was when we were buying direct from China from the manufacturer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When we bought those from, let's say, Rhode Island Novelty or Sherman Novelty,
yep,
right? they were what, 50 cents or $1 a piece?
Yeah, they were like half of what we paid because we doubled.
Right.
We did exactly what you said. We took the 50 cents and we never changed what our retail price was. We just changed where we were buying it from because we were buying in such volume that we just ended up buying directly from overseas and buying it by the container filled.
So let's say Hercules sells it to the middleman for $30. Middleman sells it for $40, right? So Hercules sells it for $30, right? Well, Hercules didn't even create it, right? They hired a company in China to make it for. Maybe Hercules came up with the design,
the specs, right?
Right. They make some factory in China. So the factory in China, let's say the factory charges them $15 for Hercules to buy it, right? Well, the factory in China's making a profit or they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So their parts and labor cost $5, $10 maybe. And I just paid $80 for this stand. I mean, that is what's crazy to me because that's exactly what happens. There's so many fucking middlemen.
But tell me about this. Make as little profit as you can. Now, where does that fit into there?
Well, what's interesting is that the cost of a product, material, and labor. Like I've heard about like Nike shoes, right? Like the actual labor and physical product for Nike shoes or something, right? It's like $1. And people pay $150, $200 for it. It's crazy. So the make as little profit as possible. This was very interesting. It was I remember where I heard an interview with, I think, the guy from Craigslist who created Craigslist, right? Now, this is a very specific business plan, and this is specific to if you have a new, unique product, right? If you're creating something new and you're like the first one in the market and nobody else is doing this yet, right? So again, it is specific, but basically what he said with Craigslist was, he said, you know what? People have asked me, hey, why don't I charge for Craigslist or why don't I charge more? And the answer was, okay, I have this unique thing that nobody else had been ever doing before, right? So I have cornered the market. I can charge whatever I want. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Right.
Like the Starbucks philosophy, I'm going to continue to charge more for a cup of coffee until people stop buying, and at which point I'll find the right price, right? And people say, why didn't you do that? You could make so much more money. And he said, well, look, as soon as I get to a point where I can make a lot of profit, it makes it so that other people are going to want to compete with me, right? So like if Craigslist charged X dollars, whatever, and you found out that he was making $500 million a year in profit, somebody else is going to go, oh, well, shit, I could do that just as well. And I'm going to undercut him.
Is it only good early on, or is it good at any time to have this philosophy?
According to this, and logically this makes sense to me, that if you are the adopter, if you're the first one, this is what makes it great because if you're the first one in, that you just continue with this. And what it does is it prevents competition, right? Because if Craigslist was making a huge profit, then I might look at that and go, hey, you know what? I can do that. And I could make a little bit less profit, but I could still make a lot.
Your natural tendency is to want to say, I'm the only one that's in this game. I'm going to mark it up to as high as I can to make as much profit as I possibly can because I got nobody else in this arena.
Right. So let's say I'm making a widget. And this is a unique widget that nobody else has ever made before. And I'm going to do just that. That's typical business philosophy. Mark it up as much as I can because I want to make as much profit as I can because I'm the only guy doing it, right? So I'm selling this widget for $100. And let's say that I know I'm making a 90% profit on it. I'm making $90 on it because I'm the only one that can make this widget, right? Well, if everybody else figures out that they could make this widget for $10 and make $90 profit, they're going to find a way to make it, and they're going to sell it. Instead of selling it for $100, they're going to sell it for $90. Now, I could make the argument that my widget is the original and my widget is the best. But you know what? If somebody else can make it for $10, they're going to start selling it for $50. Right? And maybe the Apple widget is the best one out there, but if I can find a slightly worse one at half the price, I'm going to do it. So then what happens? Then my widget, if I want to stay in business, I'm going to have to lower the price of my widget. I loved making a 90% profit, but now that I've got 10 other competitors, maybe theirs aren't as good, but they're selling it so much cheaper. It forces me to lower my price, which then will force them to lower their price, and then the prices keep going down because of competition.
but only if you don't have if you have a loyal fan base or a loyal customer base like Starbucks does, they don't have to follow this strategy. If you have, or if you're Apple, the people who isn't following this strategy, I don't think that Starbucks is. I don't think that Nordstrom's is. I don't think that that Apple is. I'm not saying it's not the strategy to employ. I just think that I don't think there's a wrong way to do it.
I think those are the outliers, though. Like Nordstrom's is a great example. I would love to look at Nordstrom's P&L, because I guarantee you that along with every other big box realtor and department store, they are hurting right now. They've got to be. I mean, JCPenney is getting ready to go out of business, right? Sears just closed hundreds of stores because everybody's buying on Amazon now. Now, I know Nordstrom's is definitely, wait a minute, actually, not Macy's. What's the other one that just a couple years ago went out of business that was a super high end?
Like Saks or Bloomingdale's or one of those that are out there, something like that?
Exactly. Yeah. I think Apple is the exception. Now, Starbucks, okay. I kind of disagree with Starbucks only because there are now thousands of other coffee shops that are charging $3, $4, $5 a cup of coffee. And you know what? We've found that the market is big enough that they can all survive. Yes, people still go to Starbucks more often than they go to Java Joe or something else like that. But there are plenty of them out there that are charging almost what Starbucks is charging, and they're surviving okay.
I think if you create a cult-like following, you're going to create a store that no matter what your price is, people are going to follow you.
Okay, give me companies that have a cult-like following, because it's so much easier to say that than to actually do it. Apple, okay. Yeah. Starbucks, kind of, but I don't know. I mean, really, how many companies out there have cult-like followings? It's very hard to do.
How about an organization that doesn't charge for what they do but still have a cult-like following, like Google?
Okay.
Do you go? I don't pay anything to. Well, listen, I pay. I'm assuming I pay for my apps that I'm using, but it's almost like I consider my Google Drive a whole separate app. I don't use anything other than Google for my search. Have you ever go to Bing?
No, but I think you're getting off at a different tangent now. The question isn't. It's about, like, you're saying, hey, all you need to do is create a cult-like following and it doesn't matter what you charge. I'm saying it's not so easy to create a cult-like following.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. But the other side of it, like the Craigslist thing, what he basically said was, Craigslist, I think, again, if I remember correctly, the whole company runs with like 5 people. Okay. I mean, really, Craigslist. I mean, this is international Craigslist because they kept it really basic. And he makes a buttload of money. But the fact is that he doesn't charge much because he doesn't want other people coming in and competing. And he hasn't had other people come in and compete, and he still makes a shitload of money. Could he make more? His answer is, sure, I could make a lot more, but, I don't need to, and I don't want the competition. I want to keep making a really decent amount of money and not have anybody else jump in because they're like, hey, I could make a lot of money at this. Other people can't make a ton of money at this, and that's where I want to keep it.
Craigslist was founded in 1995 by this guy, Craig Newmark. San Francisco, California headquarters, $694 million they did in revenue last year. They have 50 employees.
$700 million. And I think they charge $25 to post for a job, but that's it. Everything else is free. 700 million. I don't know what a good percentage is, like employees to income, but I got to believe that $700 million with 50 employees is a pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think they probably have that's probably pretty good margin there. Yeah. I don't know how employees in 2017 they had 50 employees. Right. Yep, that's exactly what it says.
Now think about that. Who else has tried to compete with Craigslist? Nobody that I know of. And it's like, oh, well, because there's no money in it. He doesn't charge anything. Well, he charges enough to have fucking $700 million in revenue with 50 employees. It's an interesting business strategy, and absolutely it does not work everywhere. And you have to have a very specific product, because if you're jumping into any industry that exists already, it totally doesn't work.
I think it works a lot better, and I could be wrong because I'm not well versed in this level of how this business works. But I think it's a lot better based in a service-based organization than it would be it's really, I mean, you can continue getting cheap. Sometimes that means lowering your quality. I don't know that they have lower quality because they have lower margins with Craigslist.
No, but you make a point, like service versus product. You're right. If you have a physical product, right, somebody else is going to be able to make it cheaper somehow. And you're right that it doesn't work. It absolutely, I think, is specific to service industries. Yeah.
They had $694 million in revenue in 2016. 694. They had net income of $500 million. Holy crap!
Holy fuck! Net income of what is that? 80% or something? Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's insane.
Under 80%, but it's more than 70%. That's pretty. Wow. I don't think you can do that with a product-based company. I think that's all crazy. Service and 50 employees. How much money did they make?
Right.
That includes the $25,000 person answering the phone as well.
Right. Exactly.
Who knows? All right, so we got through our week here, and we covered some episodes. Did we cover enough episodes for you to feel comfortable that we actually spun the wheel enough times, or do you want to cover another topic, Strick?
Well, we're like 50 minutes in now. We probably should cut it. I think we just have so many good topics, and there are a couple of good ones I still wanted, but I think we can roll over.
Is there one more quick topic that you want to cover?
Well, I got a feeling if I get into this one, there's one that I like, but I think it's going to go long. Never joke with the TSA. Like, why would you? Like, I thought that was kind of understood. Like, everybody should know that. Did you really fucking make like a bomb joke around the TSA?
No, I didn't make a bomb joke, but interesting. What happened was, what happened was. So we came through security, and my wife's bag was flagged. So she pulls out the bag. The TSA lady or guy pulls out the bag, and they had made mention to these two things that were within her bag that looked very identical, but it looked like they looked like sacks. Like they didn't know what it was, almost like a flour sack. But they couldn't tell the substance that was in it, but they could tell that it was almost like a powder. So they very concerned with what that was. So they pulled the bag over to the side. They opened it up, and I'm like, what's in there that would really matter? The guy goes, I don't know what it is, but we need to take a look at it. So Danielle says it's the grits. We were in South Carolina, so my wife's a big fan of grits, and she's like, I can't get these grits at home, and I want to get them here. So as we're going through TSA, they flagged the grits. So she pulls them out, and I said, man, those must be some killer grits. They did not. He just looked up at me, and she's like, you can't say shit like that. You just can't say that. I'm like, oh my God, seriously? You can't even say that? It wasn't even like, I guess it was a joke. I mean, there wasn't a bomb joke. I don't know, but maybe killer grits. You can't say the word kill around TSA apparently, so...
Yeah,
we don't have to get into it any more than that.
I can see how you could make that mistake. That's a tweener. Yeah, okay.
That's a tweener. That's right. Yeah, I didn't make mention to. Hey, look at the bomb. The grits are really. Oh man, those are the bomb. I could have said that. I guess I could have said that. I didn't say that.
Oh my God, yo, man, you got to try these. These grits are the bomb. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't have the rim shot.
Right, exactly. You got to have that all. You need like a little something that you can have in your pocket that just has a recording of that all the time whenever you need a rim shot. Right.
That's my theme song. Ba-dum-bum. Yeah, got it. All right, let's get out of here, Strick. We had a full week. We got one more interview day tomorrow, and then I am off to cruising. But that is okay. We will not stop the episodes from coming. The nice guys are on nonstop
through sleet and hail and pouring rain and whatever.
Don't get me into the Postal
happens
Service. We're much better than the Postal Service.
Much better than the Postal Service.
And we are much cheaper than a stamp. So
True.
if you would like to contribute to our Patreon page, that would be great. We'll charge you for 2 stamps. We will get you an entire week worth of rewards.
Okay, then.
It's 49 cents. Anyway, nice guy community. Never underestimate the power of nice. Strickland?
Yeah, Steve O'Brien. Take us out of here.
Are you sure the legal department cleared this? Okay then. For the nice guys on business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Hey, if these bozos want to get sued, that's their business. Leave me out of it. Wait, we have a legal department?